Hello everybody, my name is Jeff Heath. Welcome back to the Vintage Workshop. I wanted to give you a quick kind of a final update for now on the 16-inch Walker Turner bandsaw. Over the weekend, while other glue ups were drying on the other project that we're working on right now, I wanted to finish up the work on the bandsaw, and I actually took some great footage on truing up the wheels and crowning them for the rubber tires after installing them, but I forgot to hit the little red button on the back of the camera, and actually what I thought was taking about 20-25 minutes of good footage that I was going to speed up for you and show you some things on. Actually, I took no footage at all. So I'm just going to quickly go over it with you and pretty much show you the procedure, and also let you know that when we do the 27-inch bandsaw, we will go ahead and show the entire process of cleaning the rims, installing the rubber on the tires, the rubber tires on the rims, and as well as going through the crowning process then. So you'll certainly get that then. Basically, it's an easy thing to do. There's lots of ways to do it. A lot of guys will take the wheels off if they have like a metal working lathe or a big woodworking lathe, and make a mandrel, hook it up there, spin it that way, and sand it down. Basically, all you're trying to do is get a couple of degrees of crown by making the center of the tire the high spot, and what that forces the bandsaw blade to do is track to the center. It rides up to the high spot, much like with line shaft equipment or pulleys and whatnot. Belting is always going to ride to the high spot. And one of the easiest ways to do it is to just take some sandpaper, wrap it around a stick, find some good purchase with the wheel obviously installed and the blade off. Right now I've got the blade on, I'm just showing you this. There are plenty of ribs and bosses inside the housing of most bandsaws that have full guards on them. And all you basically want to do on the top wheel is stick that in there like so, and work the back side, then tilt it the other way, and basically to do the front side. And then what you're basically doing is using one of the bosses inside the saw as like a tool post, and like a tool rest on a lathe or a tool post. So with this, you just spin it by hand. The top wheel took me, I don't know, about 20 minutes working through it till I had a nice crown. The bottom wheel is hooked to the drive system, so I just turned the saw on. There's a good boss down there. I was able to do the exact same thing, only under power, so it went a lot faster. I think the bottom wheel I had crowned in about 8 to 10 minutes, maybe even less. So once you get a good crown on it, and you clean up all the squeeze out epoxy or rubber cement, whatever you're using, whatever's recommended by the tire that you're installing, then you're ready to put a blade on and ready to go. So I've gone ahead and ordered new blades for this saw, and I've got one installed here. As you guys may remember, the top was pretty filthy, so it was loaded with oil. This machine was actually being used in metal slow mode for cutting metal. It had a metal blade on it. The place I bought it from was a metalworking shop, and so it had tons of dirt, grease, grime, and whatnot. So I wanted to show you basically what you do to clean that up really quick. I've already done it, but all I do is I cut these little Scotch-Brite pads into a little square, and I've got these little push sticks that I use to push wood through my joiner, and make up some little squares like this. This is just the regular green Scotch-Brite pads that I get them by the box at Sam's Club. And basically all you're doing is you're just rubbing back and forth in one direction until you get it cleaned up. It's real easy to do if you take the blade off, and just keep going until it's cleaned up to the point where you're satisfied with it. You can just basically clean it up a little bit, depending on how filthy dirty it is and whether or not they use this thing as a cup holder or not. Someone actually did use this as a cup holder. I had a couple of, once I got some of the grease off, there were a couple of really bad, looked like pop can or beer can rings on it, but I went ahead and cleaned it up really good. Once you're done with that, and I'm going to exit the screen for a second. Once you're done with that, what I do is, I buy, acetone, and I just get with some gloves on. I get a damp rag full of acetone, and I just go ahead and really quickly clean it up. Now the acetone evaporates very quickly. Obviously you want to use proper ventilation. Don't do this around fires, etc. The stuff's extremely inflammable. But clean it up, and that removes all the dirt, the grime, and the little metal pieces and all that. Cleans it up really nice. One thing acetone will do is it will kind of flash rust the cast iron if you don't treat it right after. And let me put this away. And then when you're done with that, basically just take some wax. There are lots of different types of cast iron treatments. I use Bow Shield kind of like once a year for like a serious treatment on all my cast iron, right in the spring before it turns into summer. I live in northern Illinois, right by the Wisconsin border. Here we have major humidity swings, especially in the summertime. So I've really got to be cognizant of the fact that if I don't frequently treat the cast iron surfaces in my shop, they're going to completely rust over within a matter of days once we get that high humidity going. So, take a can of paste wax and with a paper towel, just give it a nice liberal coating, let it dry 5 to 10 minutes, come back with some microfiber or a soft white cotton towel or whatever the heck you have, and just buff it out so that it's nice and clean. So then, now that we've got our top all cleaned up here, the very last thing really to do before you can actually start using this, and keep in mind, this is not a full restoration, which I had mentioned before in the introductory video. I just needed to get this saw working and safely working as quickly as possible and working correctly. The way the old tires were literally falling off this, it was completely unusable. So needing to get this back in action as quickly as possible, I've gotten it to this point. The very last thing I need to do is make a little throw plate, and that's easy enough too. Let me grab some stuff here. Pretty much all you got to do is measure the depth to make your own. And a lot of these old saws, whether or not they're available in certain sizes, I have no idea. I always make my own zero clearance inserts. But measure your hole. In this case, on this particular saw, it's 2 inches across. And what I did was I just took a piece of scrap cherry that I had laying around over to the bandsaw. I measured the depth. This one's a little bit less than 3/16. So I set my table saw at 3/16 of an inch, and I basically, with a push stick, made myself a nice little block of wood. And it was actually big enough. I don't know if you can see this or not. You know what? I'm gonna bring you in close. Okay, this is a circle jig. I picked up a bunch of these. When I do a little bit of architectural drawing and whatnot for plans for furniture, I'm always showing customers a drawing before we move on with a project. So, I've got a full set of these. But, you can go over to the Hobby Lobby or some local craft store and pick these up for a couple of bucks. And basically, take the 2 inch, put it on the wood, scribe yourself a couple of circles, and then go over to, I have another bandsaw, so I went ahead and used my other bandsaw and trimmed it out to the line. If you don't have another bandsaw, you could just as easily use a jigsaw or any other kind of small saw that you have just to get it close. I've got a belt sander, a 6-inch belt sander, so I went ahead to the belt sander and basically trimmed it right up to the line and kept going back and forth to see if it would fit. And once it was able to fit, you basically line it up on the back of the blade, mark a line, then go ahead and mark it up on the side, measure your distance back, and then just take a handsaw and just cut yourself a kerf wide enough for the blade to fit in there. And when you're done, slides right in, fits nice and tight. I always leave them a little bit proud. Take a little block of 220 grit sandpaper, sand it flush. I did all that before I went ahead and cleaned the top. That way when I was done buffing the top, there were no sanding marks left by the sandpaper. And while I was at it, I made a couple extras right here so that if this one gets chewed up or if I switch to a different blade, I'm able to very quickly go over to the drawer where I keep all these and grab another one and go ahead and insert it in. While I was at it, I had used up all the zero clearance inserts for my table saw, so I made up 3 more of those as well. One for dadoing, one for angle cuts, and one for just my regular blade. Okay, so the most important part, how does it cut? That's what we're after. It's a good cutting saw, so let's lower the blade guide. I got some 6/4 cherry here. Got a brand new blade installed. Now the saw cuts great, and it's ready to be put into use. Okay, so for now, that's a wrap on this machine. And just wanted to thank you for tuning in and watching this. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you have any comments, I love to see those as well. If you want to see more and you like what I'm doing here, or if you have any suggestions about what you would like to see, please leave those in the comments as well. And also subscribe to the channel. I'll be updating with new videos as frequently as possible. Right now I'm hoping for at least one video a week, and we'll be trying to do 2. So we're going to go ahead and get back to the cabinet, the wall hanging cabinet. And thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you real soon.